This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. I'm joined all the way from Kyiv by Victoria Agromakova, who is joining us from Wines of Ukraine. How are you today?
Well, we are fine. As always, we're saying we're still alive, luckily. So everything is going well, and Ukrainian wines are also going well. Meanwhile, no matter what. That's good.
Fantastic. Now let's talk a little bit about your role at Wines of Ukraine, your responsibilities and duties in that role.
Well, actually, we are five people in the team. All of us are from wine businesses. Some are uh, running wine companies. Someone is the president of the association. People from the event business, wine business. Someone working in the retail industry. Journalists from the wine area also. So we all, five of us, decided that due to the war, we need to somehow to support Ukrainian winemakers and to promote them outside of Ukraine, because Ukrainian market since the war started shrimped a lot, so they cannot afford to sell as much as they produce. So we decided to come together and create this brand, Wines of Ukraine, to promote it abroad. And basically, we don't have any role. Each of us, we are a team, and we are working all together on the goal. We have export promotion, promotion inside Ukraine, outside Ukraine, and most of the things we do it together.
Fantastic, fantastic. So were you in the wine business before you started working with Wines of Ukraine?
Yes, till 2018, I launched the wine exhibition, wine and spirits exhibition, as well as wine and spirits competition and all events around this area. And until the February 22nd year, it was quite successful. We had a lot of international companies coming to Ukraine who want to promote their wines, who want to enter Ukrainian markets. As well, Ukrainian producers participated in this exhibition to spread the wines more in Ukrainian market. As well, a lot of international buyers came to Kiev looking for Ukrainian producers. But the war started, of course, no events happening in the first year of the war, and that's why also that was one of the problem, one of the thing why we decided that we need to focus on something else. But since 2023, despite the war is still going on, the exhibition is continued to be held in Kiev. Everything is working. In 3 weeks, I'll have the next exhibition. We don't have so many, well, we don't almost don't have any international companies. They are not, I would say, brave enough to come to
I see.
Kyiv
Yes, yes.
these days. But we still have some international buyers who are willing to come. We have international jurors to the competition who are ready to come. And despite anything, we continue to do this in Ukraine. But of course, we have a lot of safety things to do in case of any air alarm. We closing, we are hiding, so everything is under control.
How often are those air alarms right now in Kyiv?
Oh, it could be several times a day.
Oh, really? Okay. So we may be interrupted
Especially,
today.
well, could be, could
Okay.
be. Well, but we are here. Actually, I would say that we are here in our normal life. We do not hide anymore because it's
I see.
impossible to run all the time, every day, somewhere to hide. Then you have no time to live, actually.
I
But
see.
of course, when I am as organizer organizing the big event with 1,000 people inside, I
Yeah.
have to control their safety. So then we close.
Understood. Understood. Now, you mentioned you have a team of five of you who work as kind of ambassadors for Ukrainian wine all over the world. We met in Vienna at VieVinum. Where else have you traveled with this traveling roadshow of Ukrainian wines?
Well, in Vienna, actually, we were all of us were together in this
Yes.
exhibition, and we just back from London Wine Fair.
Oh,
So we
yes.
had a trip from London directly to Vienna, where we had a national stand Wines of Ukraine. 2 months before, we participated in Provine in Düsseldorf, and before we also had London Wine Fair 2023. We had an exhibition in Vilnius in Lithuania, another Provine previous year. Also, we are trying to do quite a lot of master classes and presentation in other countries with the sommeliers, with the importers to promote Ukrainian wines. So basically, we do quite a lot of events worldwide during the year. So the one of the recent our event, it was quite a big for us and quite a huge emotionally, especially that we made in Warsaw. We invited 6 masters of wine who arrived to Warsaw because still it's not too safe to come to Kiev and tasted 91 Ukrainian wines, and among them blindly, and among them they choose 24 best wines of Ukraine and 12 top best wines of Ukraine. So now we are promoting this as well as inside the country. There will be shelves in the biggest supermarkets in Ukraine with the top wines of Ukraine, and also worldwide in the markets, especially where these masters of wine came from. We had from the UK, we had from Germany, Netherlands, Finland, and our host, Wojciech Wankowski, who is the one who helped organize everything, who invited masters of wine in Poland. So they also will promote these wines in their markets. I think this is quite a big event to support Ukrainian wines, and we're really very much thankful to the masters of wine who decided to support us and support Ukrainian winemaking in general.
That's terrific. Now, I had not tasted that many Ukrainian wines until we bumped into each other at VieVinum, and it was great to taste that range of wines up on that day. For those people seeking an insight into Ukrainian wines, a kind of starter pack, shall we say, a 101 in Ukrainian wines, if we could talk about a few things about Ukrainian wines today, we'll start off at the beginning, which is the kind of grand history of winemaking within the Ukraine.
Oh, well, we have actually 2 books now, just a fresh one that was published this year from our 2 quite famous wine people, let's say, because they are not writers by themselves. They're in sommelier, they're working in wine business. One of them also is a young winemaker, and they made a huge research about history of Ukrainian wine, and they found that over 2000 from 2000 years before Christ, there was already evidence of winemaking in Ukraine. In the area, there was at the time Tripilla, not far from Moldova, Odessa, then lately, of course, in Crimea, because it was part of the Greek colony, and everybody knows that Greeks are one of the first, maybe after Georgian, as they say, who started to make wines in Ukraine after the Roman Empire colonized this area. They also continue this story. So the history is really huge. And even after, when this territory was independent or under Russian Empire, it was always producing the wine there. In the Kiev region, the monks did it because we have a lot of fantastic churches and monasteries, and there was also evidence that they made wine during that time. The western part, it was partly occupied, I don't know, it's right to say, by Polish and Lithuanian, Rech Pospolita, and etc., Austro-Hungarian parts. There also was quite a lot of production of wines in that territory. And again, Crimea, it was until 2014, it was our pearl of winemaking, of course. And since it was occupied, of course, we lost the best terroir, the best winemakers, the best wines, but it was a fantastic push to the wineries in the mainland. They started to produce better wines, because before, not so many people know that a lot of winemakers in Crimea, they were buying wine material bulk from the mainland.
Oh.
And companies on the mainland, they do not promote themselves as they should, probably, because they know that you put on the bottle made in Crimea and it's already sold. You put on the bottle made in Ukraine, Odessa, that could be not the best promotion, because nobody knows that there is so many wineries and wines in that area. But since the Crimea was occupied, it was like a free pass for the other winemakers to do their own wine already with their own labels. And from 2015, the growth of the Ukrainian wineries was fantastic, especially the craft winemaking has a huge growth from on all territory of Ukraine, not only on the Black Sea region that historically is the most winemaking, or in Zakarpattia. All over Ukraine now we can call winemaking country.
Fantastic. Would it be fair to say, from my readings, that with the occupation of Crimea, Ukraine at that point lost about 60% of its wine production?
I wouldn't say the 60% in terms of liters,
Oh, really?
but
Okay.
I
Dollar
think
value
less.
or?
We lost approximately 17,000 hectares, and
Right.
we don't know how many do they have now. And that was, I think, 30% of the vineyards we had at that time.
I see. I see.
But now, of course, again, it gives the opportunity to the producers on the mainland to grow more, to plant more vineyards that now already grown enough to produce the good quality wines. So as soon as we get Crimea back, so we will have really a lot of wineries, because
Right,
there we will
right.
have vineyards, yes, and it will be very soon. Everyone believe in it. So, but again, for the last 10 years, we planted a lot. Of course, we cut it also a lot, especially the old vines that was not so good, or the one that's left from the Soviet Union. But even, I'm sure you know the story about the Soviet Union anti-alcohol campaign.
That was their
When
prohibition, right? Yeah.
yes,
Yes.
prohibition, when in 1989, officially, someone said that almost all vineyards were cutted, but now it's approximately 30% was destroyed, were cutted. Some of them were saved, luckily. And there was also the horrible story. Then the president of the Magarach Institute in Yalta, the one who created fantastic Ukrainian grape varieties, they made crosses that now use all over Ukraine and abroad also. Rodriga, the president of this institute, he committed suicide because he couldn't live with the idea that the work of his life is just destroyed.
Oh
So
dear.
that's quite a sad story, but that's what the Soviets did to Ukraine. One of the sad stories that Soviets did to
I
Ukraine also.
understand. I understand. Now, today, how many wineries are under Ukrainian control, approximately?
Well, included with the craft wineries, we counted approximately 160.
Oh, right. So that's grown
There's
quite remarkably recently.
yeah, a lot, really a lot. Of course, most of them in this figure is craft winemakers, family small winemakers. They do not produce a lot, but they continue to grow. They from the very small without a license, they continue to grow to the
I see.
bigger one. They getting the license. They started to sell not only on their for their friends, or they started to get opportunity to sell in the retail, in the restaurants. So the speed of the development Ukrainian winemaking now is really significant, and even comparing to the 3, 4, 5 years ago, it's a huge distance they made in the quality, in the quantity, and everything.
Terrific, terrific. Now let's speak about regions, because I always think I can remember going back to my diploma study. The Black Sea region is the largest growing region by far, right?